How do I enable Automatic Logon in Windows 7 when I'm on a domain? When Windows 7 is joined to a domain, the option to automatically log in is no longer available in the Advanced User Management console. Since I am running a small home domain because of SharePoint and TFS, how would I go about enabling this setting? The How to Geek article here covers it. However, the options are disabled when joined to a domain.
From My Digital Life article. Click Start, click Run, type regedit, and then click OK. In Windows Vista 7, simply type regedit in Start Search and hit Enter. Navigate to the following registry key: hkey_local_machine /software/Microsoft/Windows NT/current version /winlogon. Double-click the default surname entry, type the username to log on with, and then click OK. If default surname registry value name is not found, create a new string value, reg_sz, with value name as default surname. Double-click the default password entry, type the password for the user account under the value data box, and then click OK. If there is no default password value, create a new string value, reg_sz, with default password as the value name. Note that if no default password string is specified, Windows automatically changes the value of the AutoAdmin Logon registry key from 1, true, to 0, false, to turn off the AutoAdmin Logon feature. In Windows Vista 7, default domain name has to be specified as well, else Windows will prompt for invalid username with the username displayed as .username. To do so, double-click on default domain name, and specify the domain name of the user account. If it's local user, specify local host name. If the default domain name does not exist, create a new string value, reg_sz, registry key with value name as default domain name. Double-click the AutoAdmin Logon entry, type 1 in the value data box, and then click OK. If there is no AutoAdmin Logon entry, create a new string value, reg_sz, with AutoAdmin Logon as the value named. If it exists, delete the autologon count key. Also, if it exists, delete the autologon checked key. Quit registry editor. Click Start, click Restart, and then click OK.
Further to William Hilsum's answer, this method does not require you to leave the password in plain text in the registry, although I am not sure how the authentication is actually stored. Step 1. As a local administrator, tell Windows to allow admins to log on automatically. In regedit, browse to hk_local_machine /software/Microsoft/Windows NT/current version /winlogon. If it is not there, create a new string value called AutoAdmin Logon. Set this value to 1. Step 2. Tell Windows to remember the password for logging in. In the Run box, type Control User Passwords too. Ensure your domain username is in the list. If not, add it. Untick or tick and untick users must enter a username and password to use this computer. Make sure your username is selected. Click Apply. At this point, Windows should prompt for the password that will be used. Step 3. Now head back to hk_local_machine /software/Microsoft/Windows NT/current version /winlogon. Ensure the following string values are set. If not, set them. Default username, your domain username, without the domain prefix. Default domain name, your domain. That should be it. Note on password changes. You will need to redo this procedure from step 2 each time you change your password. Unfortunately, Windows resets the default domain name to your local machine name every time you save that dialog, so you have to change it back manually.
Further to Adam Milachip's answer, we can reduce the password change effort to what it was prior to joining a domain, when we always had to run control user passwords 2 again every time to store the new password. Now we are on a domain, we can just run a batch file instead that runs control user passwords 2 and also restores our domain and username registry settings. After patchange.bat winlogonbit.reg. And if the reason for wanting the AutoLogon is to get startup programs running, we might still prefer the workstation to end up locked after power up. If so, we can place a shortcut in the startup folder with the following command.
support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.